Hello, everyone, and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Anthony Pastore. Thank you so much for joining us today. So for today's show, I'm going to be joined by two guests, Melinda Hightower, head of the new Multicultural Investor segment, who just published the highly anticipated report on how multicultural families build their wealth. And joining Mel, we have Jennifer Lan, our colleague, who is a senior wealth strategist in Dallas. Jennifer is a member of the Advanced Planning Group at UBS, and they just published a new white paper that she wrote with Advanced Planning Wealth Strategist Specialist Premini Skandora, the title of which is Planning for Multicultural Investors. And just so you know, the Advanced Planning Group is a team comprised of former practicing estate planning attorneys dedicated to providing robust thought leadership on estate planning, tax, and related topics of interest to ultra-high net worth families. So Mel and Jen, so nice to have you joining the show. Great topic. Really excited to get into some of the details with you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, of course.
Great. So, Mel, I thought maybe we could get started because maybe someone tuning in today may not be as familiar as some others with the multicultural investor segment that you and your team recently launched here at UBS. So tell us a little bit about the segment and, of course, what prompted this effort.
Absolutely, Anthony. It'd be my pleasure. So the multicultural investor segment is really part of UBS's ongoing wealth management strategy to better serve all investors. And my group really works to ensure that our wealth management offering is really meeting the needs of Black, Latino and Hispanic, and Asian American investors. And I'm so excited to be here today because the guide is really a result of that mission and action. We interviewed over 3,000 multicultural investors to better understand their wealth building experience, as well as the opportunities ahead for them. We then turned to Jen and our incredible partners over at Advanced Planning to really help create a playbook for those planning opportunities that might arise in the future.
Terrific. So, Jen, let me bring you in. Thank you, Mel. So, Jen, let me bring you in. Great to see you as well. And, when we're talking about the multicultural investor segment that Mel was just talking about here, that her team has launched recently, I know that you've been working really closely with them, you and everybody else in advanced planning. So how can a multicultural investor benefit from legacy planning? What are you telling them?
Yeah, of course. Legacy planning can be very beneficial. Obviously, we talk about it a lot. And, caring for friends and family members, is a core cultural value and source of pride for so many multicultural investors. And there's just a variety of ways to accomplish that through estate planning. One of the most common things that we see in advanced planning is the use of trusts. And, they come in all different shapes and sizes, from grantor trusts to spousal lifetime access trusts, power of appointment support trust, grantor retained annuity trust, and there's really no one size fits all, but the type and structure that you pick is really often depends on the intended beneficiary. We might use one vehicle if we've got some charitable beneficiaries in there or non-charitable beneficiaries. And so kind of discussing that and thinking through that, some of the other things that we look at is really donor intent with a lot of the things we see in trust, like what kind of distributions do we want to make to the beneficiaries? What assets are we contributing? Are we looking to get creditor protection, fiduciary appointments, who's going to serve as the trustee, and so much more. And, the vast majority of these trusts that we see are multi-generational and last theoretically, forever, obviously depending on the jurisdiction that you're in. But not only can you pass this wealth on and benefit that next generation and do that legacy planning, but, you can potentially also save some taxes.
Jen, I love what you just said because it really raises the point that we're trying to drive home for many investors. For example, so many investors are laser focused on the what, for example, what you're leaving. Many high net worth investors expect to leave a legacy, and multicultural investors are no different. Roughly 8 in 10 expect to leave an inheritance. But your remarks really sort of hammer home that it's equally important to consider the how, especially when it comes to taxes. And the how is not just the structuring, but also the conversations that you have with your loved ones about your wishes and your plans for the future. So frequently, it's the most important conversation that we don't have. So I'm so excited that you're emphasizing that.
Yeah, and also just adding on to that, and thank you for that color, Mel, because not only is there legacy planning that a lot of folks are thinking about, but also based on the report, a lot of multicultural investors are also focused on making a difference through philanthropy, which is pretty exciting. So Jen, maybe you can speak on how this might be achieved for investors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, philanthropic goals of multicultural investors can be achieved in so many different ways. Donor advised funds and private foundations, I would say, are two prime examples of that. A lot of the times donors make these significant gifts and they have a strategic plan around their philanthropy, but they really want to make sure that their charitable contributions have maximum impact. And so, by using a donor advised fund or a private foundation, you can accomplish that. You can get that charitable deduction, up front in a particular year that you make it. But then with these two vehicles, you can deploy the gifted funds over a longer period of time. Another example that we see a lot are charitable trusts, most commonly a charitable lead trust or a charitable remainder trust. They're kind of on opposite sides of the spectrum, but there's so many things you can accomplish with them. You can diversify a concentrated stock position. You can get a current income stream out of them. Again, get a charitable income tax deduction, and even potentially transfer wealth to the next generation without triggering estate and gift tax, in addition to this philanthropic goals that, that we talk about. And, one of the things we do is when you're talking to multicultural investors about how they want to donate, obviously we have to look at financial status, what assets they have, but then also the ultimate charitable and tax minimization goals.
Right, Jennifer, that's exactly right. And Mel, obviously this is something that I know you and your team have been focusing on as well when you're talking to all of these high net worth multicultural investors. What can you add on the philanthropy side?
Sure. And we know that philanthropy is a critical focus of many multicultural investors. And for example, when we take a look at Black investors who are supporting their communities, not just with their purchasing power, but also their philanthropic capital as well. So when you take a look at that, in both instances, roughly 6 in 10 Black high net worth investors are putting their dollars to work in support of Black businesses and institutions. So when you think about legacy, it's not just your loved ones, but the institutions and charities that matter to you as well.
Terrific. And by the way, there is a lot of information on this particular topic on the newly launched website. We flashed the web address at the beginning of the program for multicultural investors. It's ubs.com/multicultural-investors. So make sure to check that out. Jen and Mel, let me thank you both for joining me. Congratulations on the report. It's really, really informative and extremely eye-opening and helpful to get more of this information. So thanks for putting that together. Great to see both of you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you so much.
Great. We'll see you soon. And again, take a look at that multicultural investor website. Again, the website is ubs.com/multicultural-investors. And there's a lot more information where that came from on our general website, which is ubs.com/views. You could find lots of content there from Mel, her team, and everybody at UBS who's contributing to the content side. You can also follow a lot of that on social media through LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Plus, check out all of our past UBS Trending episodes on demand on our website and on the UBS YouTube channel. And look, you may have questions following this conversation, so if you do have them and how it impacts your portfolio, make sure to speak with a financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. We hope you have a fantastic day, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. We will see you soon.